Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Mortgage Coach Tuesday morning call. Every Tuesday morning, 9 o'clock Pacific, we're here to connect as a community of like-minded mortgage professionals. I'm absolutely dedicated to your personal and your professional success, and here at Mortgage Coach, we're just helping you deliver mortgage experiences to families, to borrowers, and I'm proud to say that we are touching millions of people every single year with Mortgage Coach, a combination of realtors and loan officers. So I want to do a shout out for a lot of people on the Mortgage Coach team. This is a very first for us where not only are we delivering sales and marketing leadership, but we have been featured in Mortgage Compliance Magazine, and there is an article on how we're delivering compliance value. So for all you mortgage coaches out there that you want to have more of Mortgage Coach integrated into your CRM, your LOS, you just want it to be easier, forward this to the executives on your team and help them understand that it's not only great for sales and marketing, it's great for compliance. So great job to everybody on the Mortgage Coach team that got that article out there and now who's helping us package it and promote it to the industry. So on today's call, we send out an email every single month showcasing some of the guests. We had Darren Hardy last week, and this week it's Tom Ferry. Tom Ferry, one of the nation's top real estate trainers, coaches, authors. Every time I see you speak, Tom, and every time I have you on a call, it's just pure awesomeness. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you, buddy, and big shout out to everybody in the Mortgage Coach community. It's an honor and pleasure to be here, and coming off the heels of another one of my buddies, Darren Hardy, even better.
Right on. Well, Tom pushed to have video, so you can see Tom and I. So we're going video all the way in this call. And anybody who's watching this on mobile, you know, you've got the trifecta. You've got video, mobile, and you've got Dave and Tom to deliver leadership. So before we get into Q&A with Tom, I've got some opening thoughts, and I have some follow-up from last week with Darren. You know, Darren, I mean, he had lots of great insights. The two that really stuck with me, and folks on my team, people that are really close to Mortgage Coach, I just heard him talking about the most. One of those concepts is just family versus file. The concept that we're not just doing loans, we're not just closing files. When we get a turn down, it's not just a turn down, it's families. I mean, we're helping families. And I think when we start talking about video, and not only does it impact your success, but it helps you deliver better insight, value, and education to a family. Let's face it, often we're talking to a husband, but there's a wife, and there's a father-in-law that's loaning in the money, and there's a realtor. And when we're not using video, we're not serving the family. And so I think that concept of we're helping families, not files, is just an important concept. Another important takeaway that, you know, I think I've lived most of my life around this, you know, you've got to have a great product, you know, but when it really comes to your success, and Darren made a great point, that in many cases, and I can think we can make that case in the mortgage space, that 90% of your success comes from your sales, how you're packaging, how you're promoting, how you're taking your product and you're making it awesome, you're making it unique, and you're making it viral. So sales and marketing is where so much of our success comes. You know, having the lowest rate is not going to necessarily give you the best amount of business, and it's not necessarily, it's never going to. So for everybody who has not subscribed to Darren Hardy's weekly newsletter, that was our big push. If you haven't signed up for it, get his Darren Daily. Again, it's something that you can watch on your computer and you can watch on your mobile device. So make sure you get Darren Daily. So hey, Tom, before we get into opening thoughts and our interview, anything you want to add to some of the things I just shared about Darren, or just things you've learned from Darren over the years?
So Darren and I had a pretty significant bromance about 2 years ago while he was on the climb looking to innovate, writing his next book. I hired him to speak at a few events, and you know, look, he's just a stand-up guy. He's the real deal. So he talks a lot about life balance. He talks a lot about project management, managing and controlling your time. Listen, I watch him every day, so I would just encourage everybody to do the same. I think those of us that are committed to constant and never-ending improvement, we can't get enough of, whether it's Darren Hardy or Gary Vaynerchuk or going old school Peter Drucker. Just keep it all coming in, because it only takes that one idea to spark the creativity, to spark the enthusiasm, to give us the courage to reach out and maybe call that tough prospect that maybe normally we wouldn't. So, you know, Dave, can't say enough, and, you know, big shout out again to you and your team for doing this kind of work for your community. So congrats.
Well, I'm with you. You know, we can never learn enough, and we need the constant reminders. So whether it's daily affirmations, this is some of the best content in the marketplace. So folks, you know, most of you know Tom Ferry. I mean, I think all of you know Tom. We're going to do a more formal introduction in just about 5 more minutes. I do want to share some thoughts. And Tom, this is an unplugged conversation, so interrupt me, add color as we go. But I wanted to bring some thoughts that I shared at Todd Duncan's Achieving Leadership Excellence 2 weeks ago in Hawaii when I was there with Darren. Darren led Monday, and I provided some leadership on Thursday. And I believe with all my heart that 2015 really represents a year of change. And I think we say this every year, but in the mortgage space, I think we can say it at a whole new level. You know, and part of that is driven by compliance. There are some changes that are happening in the way that we deliver the good faith, in the way that that needs to sync up at the close of a loan. And I really think this is going to be the first time where compliance is actually going to really impact the sales process for realtors. Because the way we set expectations, the way we communicate, if we do it well, we're going to close smooth, and if we don't do it well, we're going to close ugly. And that's going to hurt everybody. So, I mean, I love this quote, you know, a good hockey player plays where the puck is, and a great hockey player plays where it's going to be. And one of the reasons why I wanted Tom on this call is I think, Tom, you've got a reputation in the real estate space of providing leadership about where the puck is going. Would you agree with that? I mean, is that something you're just, I mean, you've dedicated your professional life to predicting this, teaching this, and driving your audience.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. I've always kind of prided myself on being ahead of the curve, whether it was back in the day being first on MySpace to, you know, trying to help people decipher between do you go Friendster or Facebook. And I think we were all smart enough to go with Facebook. So, yeah, there's no doubt. And, you know, today you're talking about a topic that's near and dear to me, which is, you know, video marketing. And, you know, I think a lot of the mortgage coach community understands, certainly with your video product, that you know, today using something like video, whether it's in communicating just a message like, hey, Dave, just want to say congratulations, we're going to close on time, everything is going smooth, as simple as that sounds, I look at the impact of my show over the last, you know, now 7 years, and what we see is people have a connection with those of us that do video. Not unlike, I mean, Dave, remember growing up as a kid and watching television, and you know, we hated the bad guy, and he was just some guy on TV, or we fell in love with the girl next door who was on this television show, and we never interacted, we never connected with them, but we fell in love with them through that screen. And what video allows us to do today as mortgage professionals, as real estate professionals, as coaches, as trainers, as influencers, is it gives us that same opportunity to basically carve out our space of people that like us, that enjoy us, that appreciate us, that trust us, and then, you know, push that out in the marketplace. So, you know, I'm excited you guys are in this conversation. I am going to tell you that I just made an angel investment in a new company, a 15-year-old who is building a Oculus video production company, because we believe that, you know, with Zuck's buying Oculus, now at Facebook, that, you know, we're only a few years away from a consumer not getting a video tour, like we all get excited about video tours today, but instead putting on their Oculus inside a real estate office and doing a full virtual 3D experience of the home to completely connect with it and make a buying decision maybe from their couch. That's what's going on right now, guys. There's never been a more exciting time than right now to be in the mortgage and real estate space, in my opinion.
Love it. Well, that, I think, is a great setup for what I shared at Achieving Leadership Excellence. I shared what I labeled as mega trends, and there's 3. And I'm only going to really talk about one today, and that's just the balancing of digital and traditional and being able to communicate at the speed of life. And I think, you know, as we think of video and we put it in the context, you know, first thing I think we need to recognize is that there's no profession, no space that if we do it well, people tell everybody, and if we do it bad, we're dead. So consumers, when they talk about their experience, you know, they're 75% more likely to talk about it than retail. And again, there's nothing that's more true about this than the lender loan officer, or excuse me, realtor loan officer relationship. And when we look, you know, this is a study from from PricewaterhouseCoopers, we look at where we go wrong, where are the misconceptions in the areas that really hurt us. It's the cost of ownership. It's when we screw up with fees, So, and when we look at the positive side of things, where do loan officers really win? Yes, having a good attitude is important. I mean, attitude's everything. But when you really look at a breakdown of why consumers want to work with a mortgage professional, it's their ability to personalize. And I only bring that up, and Tom, I'd love your perspectives on this in just a minute, but when you look at all the marketing that most loan officers are sending realtors and most loan officers are sending borrowers, it's not highly personalized. They think that just putting in your first name is personalization. It's not. So I just asked everybody, when I think of that interview I did with Realtor Glenn Bill first week of the month, or first week of the new year, and he just said, don't give me what you want to give me what I want. Everybody wants personalization. And I think digital gives us the ability to personalize. In this study that Pricewaterhouse did, they really looked at different steps of the mortgage process, and they said even the most non-tax savvy people, when it comes to doing research, they want a digital experience. And this concept that mobile is only for millennials, I mean, guys, that's just false. Gen X is just as mobile when it comes to the mortgage and real estate process is millennials. And let's face it, even the 50-year group, we've all got the MLS in our back pocket to the tune of, and by the way, Tom, I think these numbers was from June of last year. Do you know what the numbers are now? This is a year ago. 55 million unique mobile visitors to MLS in the back pocket. How much do you think that's increased?
Dramatically. Those are actually really old numbers. I just was with the Zillow group that now owns Trulia as well, and Zillow's pushing almost in the 80 million range, and they're seeing more than 50% of that is now tablet or phones. So everything is mobile. That's the whole shift. If you're not paying attention to that, you're not even in the game anymore. Move, yeah, 20, yeah, all the numbers, they're pretty accurate for June of 2014.
Well, yeah, they're 8 months old.
Yeah.
By the way, Tom, if you have access to a new updated numbers, I would love to get that as a follow-up to today's call. But I think everybody knows it's ubiquitous. But here's the deal, and why I asked Tom to be on this call to provide this leadership. Not everybody is executing. Still, when it comes to delivering rates and fees, traditional loan officer style, it's a fee worksheet. And everybody on this call, you're a mortgage coach. You have the ability to deliver graphs and charts, videos on mobile. I recently was talking to a loan officer, a pretty successful loan officer, and he was complaining and upset because all his competition was showing the fee worksheet, and he wanted mortgage coach with a fee worksheet. And I come to that conversation with, one of our core tenets is to be unique, not average. So if everybody else is delivering that, we're going to deliver something different. This is a sample of mortgage coach running wild at an open house. Everybody else is providing pieces of paper and flyers. This is the Realtor's mobile device with a mortgage coach link. We want to provide a rent versus own, a mortgage strategy in a way that's unique and in a way that's digital. And again, for all you mortgage coaches out there, this is the year where it's a requirement that you start showing the total cost of a loan over 5 years. So start doing that in a digital way. Go from being traditional to digital and go to providing personalization. So Tom, I'm getting ready to bring you in, and I know you've got a lot of great insights to share. One of the comments just came in from one of our thought leaders. She's a trainer for what we call multinational experiences, and this concept that, hey, if you were speaking Spanish to someone, you would want to, if you spoke Spanish to them, they'd connect with you more. And everybody speaks digital today. What percentage of realtors do you really think are speaking digital to their clients, and what percentage of realtors do you think are speaking digital? What's your guess?
I'm sure there's a national statistic for this, but I can tell you that in 2010, my buddy Michael Crissa did some extensive surveys with the National Association of Realtors, and basically that stat showed that 90% of consumers believe that a video done on their home would cause it to sell faster and for more money. So 90% of consumers, and yet at that time, Dave, in 2010, less than 4% of the agents, around the U.S. were doing anything video related. So, we've had such a tremendous surge in whether it's Instagram, Facebook, just the simple thought of text messaging. So, today an agent that's not doing it is probably at the end of their career. I'm not going to say that they don't exist. They're still out there. But I've got 76-year-old clients that dominate their marketplace, and if they didn't text message, their 35-year-old clients wouldn't be connected to them. So I don't see any national numbers right now. I don't know if any one of the individual brands have anything on this, but everybody is saying the bottom line is you're either digital or you're out of the game. So the people that are maybe at the end of their career, they don't need to worry about it. The ones that still say, I'm working on my computer, that group, it really doesn't matter. They're done in the next few years, and they should be, and they should retire in style with lots of class and not even worry about it. But for the rest of us, the game today, you and I both know, I just did a video on this in the Tom Ferry Show. I said, today you've got to be touching people in every possible channel you can. So, email open rates are at, 15%. So if you're only doing email and you've got 1,000 people, you're only touching 150, but that doesn't mean they actually read your message. Text messaging, on the other hand, is still at 95% open rate and response rate in under 5 minutes. So for the last, 2.5 years, we've been teaching our clients, don't cold call, just send text messages to the people that you already know. And then when we said, let's incorporate video, now we've got the video auditory kinesthetic thing working in our favor. Video results have just taken off. But Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, smoke signals, knock on doors, send notes, there's no wrong way to do it. Your very first slide when you're talking about trends, I want to just go back to that for a second. For the last 2 years, we've said you should be 2/3 traditional, tried and true, and 1/3 tech and push the envelope. Today, it's the opposite. Today, I'm telling all of our clients, you should be all in 2/3 on your digital marketing strategies and 1/3 on your traditional, and those that are doing it are crushing it.
And so I think it's safe to assume if a loan officer is providing mobile and video leadership, even if it's to a realtor that's not, they know that they should, and they're going to appreciate it. And if they are providing mobile and video leadership, they're playing the same game. I know that you know that,
yeah.
But what are you telling your clients when it comes to picking loan officers that are not tech savvy, not leveraging video and mobile? Are you giving any leadership to your agents in that way?
So of course, and listen, I'm very respectful that there are some extraordinary loan officers in the space that have zero tech skills, but have great admins that help support all the things that they need to do. I find that, the busier the loan officer, because, we deal with lots of them all over the world, the busier they are, the easier it is for them to say, I don't really have time. I've got pipeline management and compliance and everything else. I'm closing loans. I'm meeting with people. Right? I don't have time to do video. What I find normally, Dave, is that's usually just a way for them to say, look, I'm a little bit nervous. What if I say the wrong thing? What if I do the wrong thing? So I find that, getting in front of a camera, coaxing them a little bit, giving them a little coaching, giving them a little training goes a long way. And then when they actually do it, they're blown away by the response that they get, right? They're absolutely blown away. So listen, I get the fear if you're not doing it. I totally acknowledge it. I know what you're talking about. Some people, they just think it's not in my wheelhouse, it's not in my DNA. But here's the deal, like in today's day and age, if I can send one video and touch 10,000 people over the course of 2 days versus email where I know my open rates are only going to be 15%, I'm doing video. So, again, there's great loan officers that are never going to do it, but we know why they're not doing it, right? They're playing the I'm too busy game, which is usually just a fear of not looking good if they do it.
Absolutely, or not enough pain to make a change. So let's see where the audience is at on this call. Are you creating and delivering video in the context of your realtor relationship? So right now, give us a candid vote. I've only got about 30% of you voted. You guys know how I roll. 70% of you will vote, and then we'll move on with the core content so we have some great insight to bring into this conversation. So Tom, what do you think? How do you think this poll is going to get answered?
Yeah. Are you creating videos that are useful to realtors? Well, so let me say to a lot of the people that are watching or listening right now, I've got a lot of friends in the title industry, escrow industry, mortgage industry that don't create videos necessarily that would be their marketing message. They do some, one-on-one stuff, which is terrific. But a lot of them have taken on this idea of I'm going to DJ other people's content and be the sort of contributor of that experience to their base. So, maybe just think about, managers that want to recruit, loan officers that want to engage more, terrific agents in the marketplace. Consider maybe grabbing my videos or Gary V's or Darren Hardy or somebody else, but then labeling it, like putting it in your email context. So you say, I was thinking about you, I watched this video, thought it would bring you some value. If there's anything I can do, yada, yada, boom, you send it out. So I'd make sure we add that in the mix as well for a lot of the people that are watching.
No doubt. So here's the results. 32% of you said yes, you're doing this. You are creators. So first of all, kudos. I think if you ask that question to a lot of audiences in the mortgage industry, you get like 10% or less of loan officers. Yeah. So mortgage coach community, right on. You guys are ahead of the curve. To the 78% of you who said no, it's game on. That's what we're here to evangelize and to push you over the edge. As you guys know, we do a Thursday call that's very technical. So this Thursday at 9 o'clock, we will be doing how to create a mortgage coach video training. And so there's no technical reason you couldn't do it. And again, we've got scripts, So I'm with you, Tom. I do believe, and I share videos. I mean, I share videos. I share your videos all the time. But I do believe that, let's face it, what people see, that's who you are. And by creating videos, not only are you projecting your who, not are you providing leadership, but you're getting better at it. I think one of the unintended benefits to creating videos is it just sharpens your presentation. Like if I had a loan officer and I put 10 loan officers against the wall and said, explain to me the value of a no points loan versus one with points, or single premium PMI versus annual PMI, or monthly PMI. I would literally go, okay, number one producer, number two, there's the top three producers, and by how good they could answer that question in a minute for a video, I'd be able to pick all the top producers. So creating videos is not just great to project yourself, it's great to get good at telling your stories and having the conversations that matter most. So Tom, let's reset just a little bit, because I think
can I make a quick comment on this? So first of all, for everyone that said no, listen, I want to go back to the same statement. If I did that same poll amongst let's just say my North American coaching clients, the numbers would be pretty close. Probably, 40% do, 60% don't.
You just kind of one-up me, right?
No. First of all, listen, and I'm a huge fan of this, but I get it. Like some people just aren't comfortable in front of a camera. Some people are tremendous writers. Some people should do audio podcasts. Some people can create fantastic direct mail pieces. So, part of this is know your DNA, but understand, look at the impact that television had over radio. Like, which one won the game? I mean, just look at the trillions of dollars spent on television versus radio. Video is where it's at. So I would challenge maybe the person that's watching this or listening right now, maybe just take on an easy assignment. If I asked you, what are the 5, 6, 7 questions you get asked every time you meet with a first-time home buyer? What do you get asked every time you meet with the complicated home buyer who has a credit ding in the past but has a great job and makes great money, but maybe had a short sale a few years back? What are the questions that they ask? And then what are the questions that your realtor partners ask over and over again? And I think if you just created a little mind map of all those questions and then got in front of a video camera and just said, here's the 5 questions I get the most, one at a time, boom, 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 and you answered them in short form, I mean like 15-second Instagram-style short-form videos, you would crush it. I know every person watching right now, you could do that, and then you don't have to worry about performance value or presentation value. But think about it like this. So, Dave, I've got a client formerly known as Short Sale Kirk, and he's down in San Diego. 2 years ago, when the short sale crisis kind of ended for him, he finished that year with 397 short sales closed in 1 year. Phenomenal agent. when I took him on as a coaching client, I asked him the question. I'm like, look, what are the big questions you get? He says, every interview, every sit down I get, it's always the same 7 questions. They ask me about the tax ramification. They ask me about, boom, 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 right? Short sale. I said, so, how long is your average presentation? He goes, God, it takes me like 90 minutes. And even then I don't always get it. He goes, I just found myself doing consultation after consultation after consultation, but my actual conversion to short sales at the time wasn't that great. I said, well, what if we just changed our marketing funnel process to, you must watch these 7 videos and then let's book an appointment? Well, as you can imagine, if anybody that knows Kurt Wanabo from San Diego, California, phenomenal guy, but he's more analytical than the average real estate agent. Let me just say that. He's more technical than the average real estate professional. He knows more about the intricacies of a transaction. He understands it from the attorney standpoint, everything that needs to take place with a short sale. But he's not one of these guys that, like he's not Dave Savage or, Darren Hardy who, woohoo, right, can rile up an audience. But you know what he can do? He can answer the very technical questions, and that one adjustment allowed him to just absolutely crush it in his business and go from, 75, 80 short sales a year to nearly 400 short sales a year. But the bigger game changer was how much time he saved. How much time he saved. And, in sort of the post-transaction surveys and asks for reviews, everybody gave it to him. They all said the same thing. You were the expert. I would go back to your video, or I'd go back to your website. I'd watch those videos over and over again to make sure that I really understood the ramifications of short selling my house. Video equals expert. That's the bottom line. So Dave, just a little small rant, but I hope that maybe helps a few of the people that are on the edge.
No, I think no pun intended, given that our product is Mortgage Coach Edge. No doubt. I mean, I think the only thing I would add to that, especially to you as the Mortgage Coach audience, is to create some edge videos, because we make it easy for you. And let's face it, the kind of videos that you put into an edge are the kind of videos that you're leaving on voicemails right now. You're just not getting recorded. So when you're calling and talking to a client, you're leaving the voicemail, or when you've got your mortgage options out in front of them and you're walking them through and you're netting it out, you're already having that conversation. It's not a new conversation. It's the same conversation you're already having, only you record it with an edge video. By the way, this is Dan Keller. And Dan, I don't know if you're on this call or not. If you are, raise your hand. I would love to give you a chance of jumping in. Oh, Dan Keller, there he is. Leaders are learners, man. There is, Dan, I have unmuted you. And I think, I always find this, Dan Keller is a super successful loan officer in the Seattle market. I mean, he's leveraging video. He's leveraging Mortgage Coach in a really pro way. Dan, just real quick, I know you're a big fan of Tom's. It looks like you've been listening. Have you been on the whole call, by the way?
Yeah, I've been here.
Okay. One, I'm going to give you a chance to ask Tom a question, but 2, for all the loan officers that are on this call, because you're doing video in a pretty advanced way. You're like, I would just call a black belt. You've got a lot of different katas and ways that you're using it. But for those that are on this call that were the 70% that aren't at least creating a Mortgage Coach video for their realtors, what would you tell them, and what advice would you give them to get started?
No, I think Tom hit it right on the head with the 15-second Instagram videos. I started doing that, I'd say, about a year ago. I love it because it's short. You don't have to think a whole lot. You just say what's on your mind, and it's syndicated to Twitter and Facebook while you're at it. But I would just start. It's so, the hardest part is taking that first step, but the response, I'm sitting here just nodding my head the whole entire time Tom's talking. The response from real estate professionals, the response from just your friends and your followers on your social networks is huge. You take on that persona, that TV, I guess that celebrity persona, and that leads to you being an advisor.
Right on. Any questions you want to make sure?
I want to ask Dan a question, because I've watched Dan's show before. So Dan, what was sort of your thought behind your YouTube channel, your YouTube show, and maybe just sort of speak to the impact of it?
Well, it's just like, I followed you for the last 3 or 4 years as I was building my mortgage practice, and seeing how you're innovative and what you're doing with just, obviously you're a coach and you get paid a lot of money to coach people, but you give away a ton of free nuggets.
Yeah.
And that's the whole idea, the approach that I took. I mean, I'm seeing you do this. I'm seeing Gary Vee do this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing a lot of industry leaders, outside of our industry, leaders doing this. And so that's all I wanted to do. You know, I bring in financial planners. I bring in insurance agents. I'll bring in top local realtors. It's one of the ways that I can actually get in and bridge a conversation with them, is to just get their expertise. And so that's all I wanted to do, is take 3 to 5 minutes to get inside of their minds and just share it with people that follow me, you know, on my social network. So just mirroring you, man, just doing what you guys are doing at a much smaller level, but trying to do something in our industry that not a whole lot of people are doing. And well, I mean, the response is great. It's not necessarily directed to real estate professionals. It's mainly I needed to provide some sort of value to my current clients and past clients, and this is the way that I chose to do it.
So, you know, are you asking for comments? Are you, you know, on your, like, I haven't looked at your YouTube channel, and probably, I mean, I just watch it on my phone, so I don't always go right to the YouTube channel. Do you ask for comments? Do you look at your open rates? When you see your friends and people in your sphere, do they bring up the show? Kind of maybe speak to that just for a second.
Yeah, I do. So when I do it on, I run a little episode called Coffee with Keller, and that's where I syndicate the Home Field Advantage too. And so I've got about 500 real estate professionals that subscribe to that. And so in that email, that's what I do say that. I say, hey, you know, let me know your questions. Let me know what you think. And I get, you know, my open rate is about 34%, which is pretty good for email.
Right.
Email marketing. And so, yeah, I do. I don't know the numbers, but I do. Every time I send out a Coffee with Keller, I'm fielding, you know, 20 replies to those emails, people that are connecting with me or liking it or commenting on the social networks as well as emails. So, yeah, the response rate is great. I'd like to get more interaction with the platform I use is Google Hangouts. So I certainly would like to get more interaction there. That's one of my goals for 2015.
Yeah, I would tell you that one little adjustment we've made with our video show that's had a nice little spike is we're now doing short form 15-second intros of the video the day before, right? And we post that on Facebook, and we post it on Instagram because it's an Instagram video, and it's just sort of announcing, hey, reminder, the show's coming tomorrow. It's going to be in your email box, and we're seeing a pretty significant spike. We've got about 285,000 people on a double opt-in email address. And, you know, historically always get a 20% open rate, but we're seeing a big bump in just that little Instagram, hey, reminder, it's coming tomorrow, and a little teaser on what we discussed. So just a thought for you.
It's huge. No, that's huge.
I just grabbed that one, Tom. Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give that a whirl.
Yeah.
So, hey, I'm going to say this to Dan and to everybody, by the way, in the space. Dan mentioned Gary Vaynerchuk's been a pal of mine since going back, I don't know, 2009. He was some of my early inspiration for some of my video work. You know, I was just with him in January. We spent a couple days together, and, you know, speaking at a conference, that kind of thing. So I said to him, what's the most important thing you're focusing on, whether it's, you know, you personally, Gary, with your own brand, you know, recognizing the importance of that, or with VaynerMedia, his, you know, his digital agency. And he said, it is a unit grab. You need to build your Instagram base as quickly as possible. And I mean, like, he might as well, like Dave, he might as well just grab me and said, you've got 72,000 friends on Facebook, but you only have 1,900 on Instagram, and Instagram is the fastest growing social media platform right now in the world. Think about that, everybody that's watching. Anybody that's doing advertising on Facebook, which I spend about $25,000 to $40,000 a month doing dark post advertising, I can tell you hands down, Instagram, if you're not jumping all over that one, whether it's the short form video or just the photos, it's not a bunch of 13-year-old girls only. The truth is, I look at the demographics, it's just like Facebook was a few years ago. The fastest growing demo is females 50 years old, and last time I checked, they make all the decisions. So just for what it's worth.
Good point. So, Tom, you spend that much in Facebook marketing right now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. It's a tremendous ROI. Now, listen, I didn't start out with that. We started out testing early on dark posts, I don't know, 3 years ago. And today I've got, you know, tremendous, like thousands and thousands and thousands of agent clients and now brokerages that are doing the same thing and driving fantastic results. The key, like, for an agent is, and by the way, this is a good little, like, side, you know, bonus point for all the loan officers out there, if you're looking to bring value today, especially to agents that are busy, there's three trends. I'm gonna share the three trends and then maybe give you a little idea. In speaking with my team here, I said, just give me all the stats from NAR. What's NAR talking about? And you start going through everything that the National Association of Realtors discusses. But there was three things that really stood out for me. The first one is inventory is not climbing, and there's no sign of it climbing. It's not climbing, and there's no sign. There are no sort of leading indicators that we're suddenly going to have a rush of new inventory into the marketplace. The second thing is the luxury marketplace, around the U.S., and we certainly see it around the world, but just in the U.S. specifically, it's compressing, meaning the very best agents that stand out are the ones that are doing all the business. We just did an event with 800 agents on the west side of L.A. at Skirball Center, like Beverly Hills-ish. And Dave, the stark contrast in the room, 500 of the agents absolutely crushing it, top of the game, best in class from every different brand from all over LA and around the world. And then there's a whole bunch of people that were a year or two in the business that haven't done a deal yet, right? In the luxury marketplace, it's really compressing. But contrast that to in the low end, and I want to just make sure I read this exactly as they gave it to me. The low end is becoming fragmented by tens of thousands of new agents entering into the space. And the scary thing is they're all doing a deal here and there. So all the savvy loan officers know you can go back to 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 during that run when the 80-20 concept of real estate, 80% of the deals being done by 20% of the agents, that's not happening anymore. In the low end, it's like 80% of the agents are all doing one or two deals. They're doing 80% of the transactions. So we're seeing a massive disruption of low-end teams that are having to do way more to stand out in the marketplace, to be recognized in the marketplace. So things like video or Facebook advertising have become this new opportunities for the lower end, if you will. And I don't mean like low-end dirt cheap. I mean like Orange County, California, $700,000 low end. You with me?
Right.
They have got to hit multiple channels in the marketplace to get their message heard by those potential buyers and sellers, mostly sellers today. So Facebook dark posts have been insanely great. Having landing pages, you guys should all check out geographicfarm.com. Great landing page for seller lead generation. If I was a loan officer today, a big chunk of my time would be spent saying, if I can show you how to get more listings, could we have a partnership? Every agent's going to say yes to that. If I can bring the agent more value on strategic marketing campaigns that are generating listings, every listing that they get, when you're sitting at the mega open house with that agent, every person walking through is an opportunity for you today to get a refi, but most importantly, get a purchase opportunity. I tell all my clients, you should never do an open house alone. If your lender isn't there with you, we got a problem. And I know that puts some time constraints on many of you, but understand, I just value what you do so much that an agent, and every agent knows, they sit at an open house and the buyer walks in and says, Dave, I'm all cash, I can close tomorrow. Then they see you, the loan officer, they're like, look, my FICO score is 14 and I've got issues, but how can I get around it? There's just something about how they look to you for the truth, and the agents they'll lie to every day. So I think that's a no-brainer. If I was a loan officer today, I'd be doing everything in my power to help drive opportunity to get listings, because it's only going to make their business better, which makes your business better. So Geographic Farm, dark post advertising, all of that on Facebook and more.
So Dan, hey, before you jump, real quick, how often are you creating, when you deliver your mortgage coach scenario, and here's a picture of one of your, mortgage coach on mobile, how often are you putting a video and integrating a video into that message?
Every single time. I don't do one without it. And I mean, I'm serious. I wouldn't even, I'm not that mortgage coach isn't great by itself, but the value that I see in it, I wouldn't create a total cost analysis without the short video introduction. It's the bridge builder. It's the connector right out the gate that it's the unfair advantage that I need and want. So every single time.
So mortgage coach members, if you haven't created one yet, this Thursday, 9 o'clock, we're going to be training, And not only do you want to do it for all the reasons we've listed throughout the call, but when you think about it, every time a borrower, is borrowing money, they have a loan officer. They have to. They've got a friend or family member that's influencing them. If they're buying a home, they have a realtor. Depending on how they manage money, they have advisors. And let's face it, they are surrounded by influencers, people that both are going to influence them to go with someone else, influencers that are going to make them ask questions for the third and fourth time, and the genius father-in-law who just thinks he knows more than every loan officer. So if you are not delivering your mortgage advice and it's accompanied with a video or an audio message, you're leaving it to the borrower to communicate. So folks, I mean, to me, this is the biggest no-brainer. And every mortgage coach that's delivering audio or video with their mortgage experience, they're winning with personalization, and they're crushing it because now their advice is viral. It's shareable among all the stakeholders. Tom, what value, what leadership would you give? Because you know what we do. Do you think that loan officers should be doing this like for some of their borrowers or for all of their borrowers?
So again, the simple answer is Peter Drucker 101. All business is innovation and marketing. So, if you're not constantly innovating, and by innovation, I don't mean you've got to go crazy out of the box. I think, how do I make it a no-brainer for my clients? What are all the different ways that I can touch them that are relevant and meaningful to them? So, I've got to be native to Instagram. I've got to be native to video. I have to be native to Facebook. I've got to be native to print. I've got to be native to my direct mail because I do it all. But I've got to always be innovating. So, if you're sitting here today and, your pipeline is good, but it's not where you want it to be, what will you do that's different? What will you test that's different to see, can this get me a bump in my performance? Clearly, people like Dan and a big percentage of you have seen video be one of those degrees of separation, and it's very measurable to know, does it work or not? But Drucker also said marketing, right? So it's innovation and marketing. And we all know on the line, any one of us, we know that the second you stop marketing, your pipeline 30, 60, 90, 120 days from now begins to shrink. So right. I'm always asking myself, how can I market myself in a way that has legs, that has more life? Like, it's not often that like people run around and go, oh, look at this Tom Ferry, thing inside their office. But the amount of shares I get on video is ridiculous. My Tom Ferry show went out this morning. It goes out in waves throughout the day. And just while I'm sitting here, I've already gotten 25 different people that have tweeted it out. And, we've only been live for, 40 minutes. So, 25 people that, maybe watched the show and then they shared it with all their friends on Twitter. Hello, like that's insanely great. Like that's marketing on steroids. And that's what I want. So you all get it. I mean, you're a part of this community. You all get it. I would ask you just to consider, what's the fear? Like really get honest with yourself. What's the fear? Is it, oh my God, is my hair going to be wrong? Are my glasses going to be too shiny? What if I say the wrong thing? All those fears, I had them all myself, but I'm going to tell you this, that, there's going to be some people inside your marketplace that are willing to do it. And just like in the real estate space, you guys know this, with the compression that's happening both in the low end and in the high end, the fragmentation that's happening around the world in our space, everybody's coming after the low-hanging fruit. And I just think that if you're not, if you will, placing a bet on every one of these platforms, these mediums to connect with people, I just think you're going to miss opportunities of low-hanging fruit. And I don't know, maybe you guys all have more money than I do. I just don't have any interest in losing any of it. I don't have any interest. I don't romanticize about what I like or what I don't like. Google Analytics and Google Experiment tells me every day what works and what doesn't, and whatever works, I do more of. So I would challenge you just to conquer your fears, look at the reasons why, get in front of a camera, go take an acting class, go take a drama class, or go find a bunch of 15-year-olds on Instagram that are crushing it and ask those girls for some advice, and they'll tell you. So that's my thought.
I love it. So folks, the same message that you're leaving on a voicemail when you're explaining mortgage options, put it in a Mortgage Coach report. That's a strategy. Hopefully many of you will come to our class on Thursday. Also, I'm a huge fan of everything that Tom does. I mean, Darren Hardy is a mentor, and I watch and listen to everything he does. Tom Ferry is a mentor, and what he's doing on mobile, what he's doing in social, and the way he's creating videos. I mean, bro, I don't tell you this often, but I mean, you're blowing my mind. You know, the interview you did, you know, with Spencer from Zillow. You know, we're talking, these are folks that we can't get access to. And I recommend to every mortgage professional, you shouldn't just be watching Tom's videos and sharing them. You should be studying them. You know, you should watch that video. You should take notes. You should watch it again, and you should be taking notes so that you can net that out and you can share what Tom shared, and you could do it at a level that you're teaching it. You know, at the end of the day, the most successful people are teachers. You know, I'm a big fan, everybody knows, of the book called The Challenger Sale. You tailor, ask great questions, know who you're talking to, and then you teach. And then you control the relationship. Teach, tailor, control. So I mean, I think Mortgage Coach, you know, I've dedicated my professional career to that formula: teach, or tailor, and teach. And Tom and the video he's creating, they're amazing. Today's video, watched it first thing this morning. You know what? Even if I wasn't prepping for my interview today with Tom, I still would have watched this. But I love I don't want to call it a rant, but the conversation in 4 minutes and 32 seconds, Tom did a great reminder at how important it is that you ask questions, and what are some questions that you're asking. And then he taught realtors what are some of the most important questions you should be asking to get listings, to build inventory, to get leads. So, I mean, any loan officer that's on this call, if you don't watch this video that Tom created 2 times today, take notes, and if you don't share it, and by the way, the sharing in a way that doesn't have context, I think, is kind of overdone too. You know, when you share something, you need to put real thought into how am I going to share it in a way that has context and value. And by the way, this is something where I don't always eat my own dog food. I mean, sometimes I'm just like, oh, I want to get that out, you know, and I share it. But I've noticed there's a big difference in the context and the way I share things. You know, pre-framing and how you share matters. So Tom, if you could, I do want to drive everybody to watch your video, to share it in a way that has context. And you're a master. I mean, it seems like everything you do, you really do it at a level of exceptional. What leadership do you provide to the audience, whether they're sharing a Mortgage Coach video, whether they're sharing your video? What are some ideas and thoughts to improve it the way we're sharing, in a way that creates more value and gets more signal?
Yeah, so I always start with the consumer first, right? So first of all, Dave, thank you for the kind comments. You know, if my marketing team was here, they would be like, see, Tom, see, but I'm always trying to figure out how to do it better. I'm trying to figure out short form versus long form. I'm testing everything all the time. I'm just never satisfied. Darren Hardy said, dissatisfaction is a symptom of high achievers. So I felt better, you know, after that. You know, what I would say to everybody is, look, you know, if you're going to start a video show like Dan, which, again, Dan, big shout out to you, there's lots of models for you to follow. You don't need to reinvent the wheel, right? I looked to, you know, early Gary Vaynerchuk wine library and said, I can do that, right? But when you start asking your customers what's important to you, you just start listening, like on Twitter, Facebook, or, you know, or just, you know, in the hallways, what are the big problems that you're facing? What's going on inside the marketplace? And then I just look to create, you know, a delivery of a solution to a problem that people are facing. And that's all it is. Like the Tom Ferry Show and you know, 700 videos, you know, prior to that, were only designed for one thing: give unselfishly. Give as if, you know, I would never see them again if I could just touch them and help them in a way to make their business and life better today. Like that pebble being dropped into a pond, the ripple effects are going to be extraordinary. And I got to tell you, Dave, early on, I had a lot of haters. And the haters were not the real estate community. The haters were my competition, who said, you can't give this stuff away for free. It's not fair, right? We charge for our IP, and here you are, Ferry, giving it all away for free. As I was watching site traffic go through the roof, registrations go through the roof, sales and signups go through the roof, So listen, there's no reason for anybody watching this to reinvent the wheel. Dave and his team have put together the platform, the model, the technology, the scripts. You just got to find inside you the motivation to do it. I mean, listen, I would do a show every day, if the technology for me was there, if my team was there to support me. But, you know, I get one a week, but one a week to 285,000 people has a big impact. So whether your list is 200 or 2,000, like Dan, just do it. Just do it. So I know it's just a rant, but just do it.
No, it's a great rant. So guys, we got about 9 minutes left. I want to net out a few things. So first of all, Denise Donahue, I saw your question. And by the way, Denise, I'd love to have you raise your hand and go to meeting because I'd love to just ask you one quick question and have you share something for a minute. But Dan Keller, if you could net out in 1 minute, because we've only got about 8 minutes left now, when you forward something, what goes through your head? Tom just said, look, first of all, don't be selfish. Don't try to look cool. Just think of who your customer is and give value. And that's how he shares, and that's the mindset. In a minute or less, what's your mindset in how you share videos or anything in social, text, however you share mortgage coach reports? What's going through your head, bro?
Well, twofold. So when I'm sending stuff out to my realtor partners or just real estate agents in general that follow me on the social networks, it's exactly what Tom says. It's something of massive value. You know, I follow every video that Tom does, and I'm one of those guys that shares a ton of your stuff. I mean, I'm not a real estate coach. I follow great people like Tom. I digest it and I send it out. So it's just anything that I can do to add value to a real estate professional's life, career. That's my goal. As far as home buyers, clarity, man, clarity and education. That's all I care about. Is that did I come across smooth, simple, and short?
So share with a heart of value, you know, and provide clarity. So hey, Denise Donahue, a great mortgage coach. And Denise, are you in the Austin market? Where are you at?
I'm actually in the Dallas market.
Oh, sorry, Dallas. So Denise does a great job. I know she's a big Dan Keller fan, big Tom Ferry fan. You know, you have awesome videos. Anybody, by the way, what's your YouTube page for anybody on this call that wants to check you out after the call?
It's mortgagenerd.tv directly to my YouTube channel.
Right. How when you share, because not only do you create great video content, but the way you share it, I think it's exceptional. 1 minute or less, what are you doing and how are you doing it? What's your mindset?
You know, I'm just as authentic as possible. I call myself the mortgage nerd because I really am just kind of nerdy. I grew up that way. I grew up very involved in finance and started working at a very early age. So I just stay true to my core, and you know, I have my nerd glasses on in my videos. But just like anything else, everything I've learned from Tom and from you, and I learn a lot from Dan Keller. I tell him all the time I follow him and I engage with him. But I just try to give value. I give it short and sweet. I have a kind of, you know, nerdy humor to it. I like to be funny in the stuff that I do. So, you know, I just shoot it to them straight and give them something valuable and try to make it lighthearted, and it works. So I just keep learning from these guys.
Sounds like a winning combination. Authenticity, be yourself, make it short, make it simple. And by the way, to what I think Tom has said over and over and over, just do it. Just do it. It's half of the battle. So here's some closing thoughts, and then Tom, you'll get the last words in leadership. Denise, thanks for unmuting yourself and jumping in. Dan and Denise, I'm going to lower everybody's hand, but if you guys do want to jump back in, re-raise your hands. But right now, everybody's hands went down. So here's the deal, folks. You know, as Tom said, I mean, now it's like 80 million. Everybody has the MLS in their back pocket. You know, on weekends when they're going out to open houses, they're getting taken into open houses with the MLS in their back pocket. So searching for homes is, you know, that's not where the advice is at between a realtor and a family anymore. And when it comes to being a loan officer, you know, your advice and the way that you package it to where it's selling and marketing, I mean, it's everything, guys. So I can't emphasize enough how much more you will win if when you deliver advice to a realtor, you're delivering it on mobile with video. You know, this is a picture of a Keller Williams agent displaying, one of Dan, no, Dan, is this one of your agents? Well, Dan's muted now. But this is one of Dan's agents showing a mortgage coach experience. And you got to make sure you build that into your presentation. So this is just an example of Dan Keller's slides and PowerPoint, where he talks about the power of video. He talks about the power of mobile. He talks about how he's not just going to, here's an idea, but he's showing people how he's helping them get more leads in open houses. So again, I can't urge you guys enough. Just do it. Take action. So Tom, as we wrap up today's call, what are some final thoughts from you to help mortgage coaches deliver more video, more mobile value in the market? What are some closing thoughts, my friend?
I've got about 100, but first I just followed both Denise and Dan, and I'm now subscribers to both of your channels, so congratulations. Dan, big shout out to you. You've got 181 people that have now subscribed, 182, and 31,735 views. Now, I bet 735 of those views are you or, maybe someone you love who's watching it also. But you've got 31,000 people, 31,000 times somebody checked in to see what you're all about and maybe share that. So you're on a terrific path. Both of you, I would encourage you to start pushing subscription right through your email. Have you subscribed yet? Maybe on your website, join Dan's VIP. Look at my website. Follow the same thing, dude. Just steal it verbatim. Denise, same thing. Big shout out to Denise. The nerd thing, that's awesome, right? That's so awesome. I mean, first of all, and she's, I'm very happily married of 20 years, and I'm going to say to you, you're a gorgeous gal. You put the glasses on, you start talking loans. That's insane. Like, that's such an awesome brand. That will be something you can carry forward for decades. Like, oh yeah, she's the mortgage nerd. She's, that's totally awesome. Beautiful job on that. Start pushing subscriptions, both of you. Start building your list, both of you, and start the short form video on Instagram to build that as well. One other thought for you, Dave, you mentioned Zillow. So I'm pretty close to the guys at Zillow. Spence has been a friend for a long time. The chief revenue officer is a really good friend named Greg Schwartz. I do some angel investing, and he's a great guy to say, hey, what do you think about this new company? So I've sent him a couple things. Umail recently, big shout out to Umail. I know Duncan's a big fan also. Greg looks at the Umail site, and he says to me, okay, I'm not even going to move forward because if it doesn't have a video on the front page describing who you are and the problems you solve, I don't have time to read. And I thought that's an interesting tell from the guy that's running Zillow. If it doesn't have a video on the front page describing who you are, the problems you solve, how you do it in a unique way, he said, I don't even have interest. And that, again, for me is a massive tell. I would ask all of you, what do you think would happen if Greg Schwartz, who just bought a $4 million house in Whistler, as a second home, went to your website? What's he going to say? If he goes to your, your social channels and there's no video describing who you are and what you're all about, what's that guy going to say? I think you're just missing an opportunity, and it's a big opportunity, and it's not going to get smaller. It's only going to get bigger. So just place your bets. That's my closing thought. Just place your bets. Stop romanticizing about what you like and what you don't like, and just follow the customer. If all else fails, follow the customer. Just look at the success of YouTube, Vine, Instagram short form video. It's huge. Just get in the way.
Right on, folks. So again, everybody's a traditional loan officer. Start being a digital mortgage coach with every borrower, with every realtor. I'm going to focus on this next week. Start providing them with open house experiences. I can't emphasize enough how important it is that you really custom and personalize it. Again, closing thought from Glenn Bill, powerful realtor. Give me what I want to receive, not what you want to give me. And let's face it, in today's market, everybody out there, they want you to be a mortgage expert, and they want you to deliver a modern mortgage experience. So if you could, as you leave today's call, let us know what you thought of it on a scale of good to wow. If you are a guest and you are invited and you want to learn more about Mortgage Coach, click the last one. I'd like to get a demo and learn more. Tom, as always, you knock it out of the park. I mean, I have over 30 people that have submitted questions. Obviously, we did not get to bring in a lot of questions from the community. although Dan Keller, thank you for jumping in impromptu. Denise, as always, you rock it out. I love your energy. You've got a great strategy. Tom, thanks, brother, and I look forward to having you back, man.
Awesome. Take care, everybody. Best to all of you.
Take care, everybody.